Hey everyone, welcome back. It is time to do some Cork candles. We're going to glue them together. We're going to do a two-part series. We're going to glue them together, and I've got Cork and EVA foam together, and I've already done 2 sets of Cork candles, and now I'm going to do the 3rd set and basically just kind of go over some things and glue it together, and then the second part we'll go out and actually shape them, and then we'll show them all 3 together after they're all shaped and show you how they look after we're done. The ones that are already glued together, they don't look the prettiest right now, but they will once we get them shaped up. And then we got some with some Cork designs. Did a little cross work in that. So I mean, you can get creative with them. You know, there's different types of Cork. I've got like this one's a vertical pattern, burl type Cork that they call. There's vertical, there's horizontal. So you can just grab different kinds, and the way I do it, I just kind of place them together and see what I think that'll look good for whatever rod that I'm wanting to do. These I'm just kind of building some up so I can do a rod later on. I usually do build the Cork and then I go and build that rod, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and build a few of them just so I have them, so it just takes off a little time, because like to do these patterns, I've got a jig that I bought from Mudhole, and it's called the pie jig. And basically, I mean, you can do the small ones to do the checkered, you can do 2 to make them a little wider, you can do halves, you know, whatever you want to do. You can just pretty much come up with anything you want. And then afterwards, you'll glue all them back together, zip tie them, and like this one, it's just a burnt and then a regular Cork and then a burnt pie shapes, and zip tie them together. So you got to wait till the next day, and then you'll slice them. This one just does slices, and so you'll slice them all up, and then we get to this step, which we put designs together and then glue them back together, and then you wait another day and then go out and do the lathe. So it's pretty much a 3-day process. That's the only downfall on it. It does take some time. There is some other epoxies that set up a lot faster, and you can work them pretty quick within a day, but I usually just do mine in the evening times, and the next evening when I get home from work, I'll do the next step, and then so on and so. And so we got ProPaste, and this is just, I believe it's like a 15-minute, came from Mudhole as well. But yeah, like I say, you can do EVA foam and Cork together. I mean, it's pretty much just whatever you decide to do. I use the jigs also to do the EVA foam. I've done checker designs with the EVA. I've done a red and blue on the previous one I've done. So I mean, it's just whatever you can come up with or create, you can pretty much do. Anything bigger than what I want to do with that jig, I can do 1/2-inch lengths on the EVA foam. I buy them in 2-foot lengths, so I can do 1/2-inch and then turn around and make, you know, to do like the blue, how I did the accent piece there. I can do it in that jig, and it's just sorry. Anything bigger than that, I will go ahead and take it out to my miter saw, and I'll actually cut them with my miter saw, and it works just fine. You just have to know, once you get pretty close to cutting through it, you just got to go real fast and do a fast motion with it, and it cuts fine. Every now and then it'll sling it across the shop, but you definitely want to go back, especially these pieces that you end up putting together and then slicing them. You want to go back and sand them up, get them as smooth as you can, and then I like to go through and clean them with denatured alcohol to to get all that dust off and everything. So once we put the epoxy back on it to form our pieces that we want, that it just gets a better adhere to. And like on the pies, when you're putting the pies together, pretty much all you're doing is just giving enough epoxy to hold it together so you can slice them, because then you're going to turn around and epoxy them again, so you get plenty of coverage on these Cork rings. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this mixed up real quick, and then we'll glue these together, put them in my clamp that I built. I did the other ones, like I said, last night, and I can do 2 of them in this jig. I didn't really make it to do multiple Cork, but I kind of decided after last night, so I can do multiple. I'm probably going to build another one. I'll end up, more than likely, I'll probably do a little video on that. I'm thinking about, I mean, there's nothing to it. It's just pieces of wood. I use all thread and then washers and wing nuts. So on the bigger one, I'm thinking about doing a little bit wider and basically doing a 4-piece all thread. And I think it'll come out a lot better anyways, because once you get a little bit longer, because I'll put like a whole Cork handle, all like the butt, the rear, and the fore grip, I do them all stacked up together. So it does get quite a bit longer on some of these. And I do notice that just doing the 2 like we have here, it will try to bow on you a little bit as you get it tight. And you don't have to suck them down real tight. All you're doing is snugging it up and allowing it to get a really tight fit, so when it dries, it's just not a loose fitting there. Alright, so obviously these are all your epoxies are going to be equal amounts unless you get a special type. Alright, so we got those, and I'll show you more of what I'm talking about on the clamp here as soon as we get this done. But we'll get this started, and then I'll fast forward through the boring stuff because I'll have to do multiple pieces together. And then after we're done, we'll kind of clean up a little bit with the natured alcohol. It's not necessary because, like I say, we're going to be sanding them. And the way I do mine, I just rigged up a drill, a corded drill, put it in a little jig that I made to hold it, and then I use a piece of steel stock, round stock, and use masking tape to use it as a bushing. Slide the cork on, and got a zip tie that holds it together, and just use different grades of sandpaper. So you want to make sure you get this really good. Try to flatten it out, spread it out really good, clean off your stick or whatever it is you're using to mix, so you don't have any pieces that didn't get mixed up. And like I say, I'm going to do all 3 of these together so we can have a look at kind of 3 different designs basically. And you know, you just get creative, do whatever you feel, and it's pretty fun. It makes it to where there's definitely no 2 alike unless you absolutely want to make them that way. I mean, obviously you can, but you can just kind of create whatever and make them all different if you want to. And all I'm doing is just putting a really good thin layer. You don't need to go too crazy because it's just going to all squish out anyways. If you get it real thick, it's not going to help it any better. And just like when I was talking about putting those pie pieces together, you're going to be putting it on that rod blank. So you're going to have, I mean, after it's all said and done, you've got quite a bit going on here. So I just do it, and I do it backwards. build it upside down and put them all together. And then once they're all glued together, then I'll put them all in my clamp them up. And the ones with designs, they you know, it's a lot easier. When I first started doing it, I was trying to keep the designs where I wanted them, and as I was clamping it together, and it was just kind of more of a hassle. So the best way to do on one that you have a design is to just snug it up and make it to where you can still move it around a little bit. And once you get to that point, then you can move it to wherever you want it and then finish snugging it up. Because like I say, it doesn't take a whole lot. It's basically just slight pressure. That's about all you're needing, just to where it don't move on you. And it'll set up just fine. You can do whatever you need to after that. And also, since I haven't really talked about it yet, I've only done one video with it, but I finally got a wireless mic. So I'm hoping with this video, it turns out a lot better than my previous videos. I didn't go crazy or anything. I just bought a cheap one to kind of get it. I was kind of irritated. You know, I'm trying to do these videos to help you guys out, and the sound quality just either stinks, or, you know, when I'm out on the water, you hear everything but me talking. And so I just bought one of these $100 ones. It is a Ceramonic. I think it's a Ceramonic SRWM4C. Like I say, it's $100, and I mean, it turned out pretty good on the one I did on the water. This will be the first one indoors, so we'll just kind of see how it goes. But hopefully it'll get a little better, and we can get a little bit better videos and better audio, to where you people out there can at least tolerate my videos a little bit, right? Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward the rest of this, so y'all don't have to listen to me ramble on. And there's nothing fun about watching me do every bit of this. So I'll catch back up with you when we're ready to clamp it. So we got them all glued together. Now we're going to put them in the clamp them up, let them dry, and tomorrow evening we'll be ready to go ahead and start turning these out there on the little drill lathe, or whatever you want to call it. We'll get them turned. Alright, so this is all I made. Something simple, easy enough. I can stick the rod through there if I need to. But most of the time I do on my corks. I've seen some where they'll actually do them on the rod itself. I find it easier just to do it by themselves, and then go ahead and ream them out on the inside, and then just fit them until they fit slightly snug. On the cork, you don't want it too tight, because it'll just squeegee all the epoxy rod out of it. The EVA foam can be slightly tighter, just because it's a little bit more porous than the cork is. But if it can slide on pretty snug, then that's good enough for me. Alright, let's go ahead and start stacking these in, and then we will mess with making sure they're all straight. Let's go ahead and turn that. And I like to try to do them to where that one's got to go a little more. I like to do it to where like my thinner pieces aren't next to the thinner pieces, just because the epoxy squeezes out, and I don't want to take a chance of it getting up to the other ones that you don't want it to glue up and make it harder to get apart. And because some of these you're going to see, I'm actually, even though they're wide, like a 1/2 inch piece, it's going to be where we're going to take it down so it'll fit up inside the real seat or fit the butt cap. So, but we'll get to all that in the next video. Alright, so I've got it snugged up slightly. Now you can go through and make sure everything is lined up the way you want it before you tighten it on up. And like I say, because except where there's not glue from, you know, one piece to the other piece is the only place it's not going to go smoothly, so you'll know what section is what. So just go through and get that all squared away. And don't worry, because like the cork is 1.25 inches. Most of the cork is. And your EVA foam may be a little bit different, so don't worry if it's not like smooth all the way around at 100%. Like sometimes the cork will be sticking out just a little bit from the foam, because none of my handles are that thick. I'm sure yours aren't going to be either, because that's 1.25 inches is pretty big diameter to be hanging on to, unless it's a big rod that you're building. So don't worry if it's not perfect, because once you turn it with the sandpaper, it's not going to matter. It'll all come together. But I'm just trying to get it all aligned to make it a little easier. And then we can go ahead and tighten her on down. We'll do just a couple turns. About like that. There you go. And then we'll go ahead and all my cleanup, I do the denatured alcohol, and you can clean off your hands and kind of wipe it down. Like I say, it's not necessary to wipe it all down. I just like to have it a little bit cleaner, because once you turn it, it's all going to come off. All that excess epoxy is going to come off. So I just do it just because I like a cleaner look on it. But it's kind of your preference if you want to go and take the time to wipe it down real quick or not. And just like I was saying, on the other side, you know, it was a lot smoother, except for when I hit that. As long as you get it set where you want it, and once you leave it alone, then you're fine. It's all good. like I said, I was going to do probably a wider board, and then we'll do 4. And that way, once you have a couple of them in between it, you can actually, if it starts to try to bow on you a little bit, you can tighten one side down or the other, because you can manipulate it just by maneuvering it back and forth. So if you have 4 of them, I think you could control it a lot better and get a better outcome out of it. I haven't had any issues. I mean, like I say, once you use the sandpaper, you're pretty much done with it. And you can make it whatever shape you want. So we'll just leave that there overnight, and tomorrow I'll break it down, and then we'll get it set up on the drill outside in the shop, and we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys will like this, give you a little bit of insight on how I'm putting mine together. And we're gonna pretty much put the whole rod together. I won't show you putting the Cork handles on, but I am going to do marbling. I know I said this before, but I am going to do marbling on one of these rods, one of these 3 rods, because I don't know if I'm going to build this rod for me or if I'm just going to build it and then turn it and put it up for sale. So we're going to build 3 of them. So we'll have some stuff we can do. We might be able to do a couple videos of marbling, different colors, different styles, whatever it may be, but we'll try to keep them coming. So like I always say, have some fun, go catch some fish, and thanks for watching, guys.